Alright, in this video we're going to take a look at setting up a very simple rig and IK for a pair of legs here. Now, we have one leg here, and you can download this off of the site. There will be a link. And you can see that I have essentially three mesh layers. I have this bottom joint where foot would be hooked up. I have this middle joint, kind of a lower leg, and then upper leg here. So we're going to take these three pieces and rig them up together so that we can move them around, and also that we can set up an IK set on them. So first thing that we're going to do here is we'll need to start by creating a locator. We'll actually need three locators here, but we'll start with one and then we'll create the other ones here as we need them. So I'm going to go to this mesh layer, and what I'm going to want to do is center up my work plane on this joint here. Now I modeled this as a perfect circle here. This was modeled out of a cylinder, and so I know that if I center it up on this, I'm going to get some nice rotational movement. And now I'm going to go up to work plane and say align to selection. You can see it's snapped on in there. We don't really need to worry about the orientation, really just the position, which is going to run right down the middle of those points. So I'm going to click over to my animate tab, and I'm going to go to items. I'm going to select my locator, and then under the setup, you're going to see that I have an option down here under set, and that's align to work plane position. So if I click that, it drops it right up there where it should be. Now I'm going to reset my work plane so it goes back to kind of a normal world axis. And actually I'm going to make it so my work plane is visible here. So I'll hit the O key, and then under visibility I'm going to say show work plane. Okay, so there's our work plane again. Now I'm going to create a second locator, and this one, since I did the modeling on this, I happen to know that this this cylinder here, that's the bottom end of this joint, is actually at the origin. So I don't need to do anything with that second locator. Move right on to a third locator, which I'll make, and I need to align this one to this joint down here. So I'm going to do the same thing, select those two polys on either side, align the work plane, then I will select my my third locator and say align to work plane position, and there we have it. So I'm going to go ahead and reset my work plane now so that I have these three joints, and we're ready to start rigging this together. So move into item mode here, and actually the first thing I do, I want to make two legs out of this, so I'm going to grab all my locators and drag them up to the top, and then I'm going to select, and just for sake of keeping these organized, I'm going to put them in order, locator 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to select all my locators, all my meshes, and go back over to my model quad view. I'm just going to grab those and move those over off to one side. And then I'm going to hit Shift V to use my my mirror tool, and I'm going to click Apply. You'll see that I've got another identical set here that have come in. So now I can put these together as two legs and hook them up to a null that will be essentially the hips of this robot leg system that we're creating here. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to this back the way that I was originally facing. I want to hook up each mesh item to the corresponding locator joint. So locator 1 is that top one, or locator with nothing actually, but I'm going to grab the first mesh item and parent that up to it. Locator 2 is that middle one, so I'm going to grab the second mesh and hook that up to it, and then mesh 3 to locator 3. Okay. And I'm actually going to do the same thing down here. So locator 4 is actually my bottom one, and mesh 4 is also my bottom mesh item. So I'm going to drag this one into here, locator 5 and mesh 5, make sure we're dealing with the right ones, they are, and then locator 6 and mesh 6. Drag those on in. So now I need to set up some hierarchy that will allow us to start working at the top joint, and we'll connect the leg bone's connected to the knee bone kind of thing. So I'm going to start here with the foot actually and connect that to the leg as a parent. So I'll open that up so you can see where it goes. And then I'm going to take this locator 2, and I'm going to connect that up to the top one. So I'll see I have a kind of a 3-point hierarchy going on here. We'll do the same in the bottom here. Now remember, these were upside down, so I have to drag top to bottom here. So I'll put locator 4 inside locator 5, and then I'll put locator 5 inside locator 6. So, and if I open these up, we'll see that I actually have my mesh items underneath as well. So I'm going to open up these so we can see that effect here. So I have my mesh items, and I have my locator items. Now, if I select these 3 locators, we'll notice that if we go to the modifiers here, apply IK is grayed out. Now, there's a reason for that. And the reason is that an IK system can't handle a series of joints that are in a completely straight line. So what we need to do is create a little bit of rotation for these. So I'm going to select the top locator here, and I'm going to, actually let's do this. I'm going to select both of the top locators, and use my rotate tool here, and oops, looks like those are going to go opposite directions. So I need to set my action center to automatic, and I'll rotate them both forward, and I want to be able to see how much I'm rotating them here. So I'll rotate them both forward, and I'm going to go and grab each of the middle locators here, the knee joints, and I'm going to rotate those ones back here until I get them roughly back over the 0 axis there. So I have a little bit of a bend in there. Now if I go in here and select the 3 locators and we go to our Animate tab, we'll see that Apply IK is no longer grayed out. So I'm going to click Apply IK. We'll notice a couple things happen. Here in the viewport now we have an extra locator, and we've got a line connecting the hip or the top of the leg down to the foot. And then in our item list we see an IK locator goal and a locator root. So I'm going to do the same thing over here really quickly, so we'll have 2 sets of these. So I'll click those, Apply IK, and I'm going to drag this locator goal up on top of that root just so that they're a little bit more organized here. Now the locator root actually will, if I grab this and move it, will move the top of the leg. Not the kind of thing we're typically going to want to move around all by itself, so I'm going to leave that alone. But these the locator goals now are going to give us the the typical IK idea that we're looking for. I can move them up and down, left and right. If it moves beyond the joint, it's just going to stay oriented towards it and not do any bend. If I pull it up, it's gonna could go past it and invert it completely, but we haven't set up any constraints or anything for that. But this will allow us to get a typical IK setup off of these joints here. Now I'm going to do one more thing, and that's I'm going to create a kind of a hip joint here to go with this. So I'm going to create a new locator here, and I'm actually going to rename this one, and I'll call it hips. And I'm going to just pull this up to the top here, and then get my move tool and drag it up, and just kind of up above and in between these 2 joints. Now what I actually wanted to do is I want to grab the roots here, and I want to put those, like the hips, the parent to those roots. Now the reason for that is, now if I take that hip, if I take that hip joint and move it down, see that the hip, both legs will go with it. This also works for rotation. You can see that they pivot around naturally, and there's not too much to do here, but they do work on all those rotational axes. I can tilt it this way, and they'll work. However, this is going to be robotic, and those are going to be rigged as straight hinges. Then not going to get much of this kind of action going on, but we can set up some constraints and look at how we would model something for that in a later video. But for now, there we've got a pretty good simple IK rig. We can move it around and nothing breaks. Hope this helps you get started doing your own rigs, and keep looking here for another video where we'll go into much more depth and create something much more complex to rig up here. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.